Welcome to the Bold Analysis, ladies and gentlemen. I am back after 5 days, not 5 days, 1 week away in Western Shinyalo, where we were supporting Granny Deborah. And I want to say thank you very much. We've had a successful mission. That was our 35th successful project doing charity work apart from political analysis. And I want to say thank you. I called you, you responded, and we were blessing to Deborah. The greetings and engagement meetings that have been convened, or rather the events that are being spearheaded by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and Kalonzo Musyoka, their convoy is slowly snailing into the coastal region, making stopovers all the way from Taita Taveta. They started with the Ukambani chapter, all the way from Taita Taveta to Mazeras, to Changamwe, and to Bamburi in Mombasa. And I want to say I've watched those, I've followed those proceedings this afternoon. It is very clear that if Rigathi Gachagua, whoever Rigathi Gachagua is going to support in 2027, that person is going to give William Ruto a run for his money. And at the end of this podcast, when you look at this factor, you'll find out whether what I'm saying is the truth. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos. Subscription is absolutely free. And as you can check there, that's how you can subscribe. When you subscribe to our channel, you'll be getting notifications whenever we publish a video. And we do this because of you. Subscribe. Subscription is absolutely free. When you subscribe to our channel, you will not miss a podcast. And I want to say thank you very much for your support. I listened to the speeches by Rigathi Gachagua. I was and Kalonzo Musyoka team as they were making their way to the coast. And I want to believe one thing. I paid attention because in this podcast, I think not once, not twice, I've always maintained that it was time for Rigathi and Kalonzo to stop oscillating between Mount Kenya and the Cumberland. That it is about time they just get out of those two areas and get to know what's happening. Now, I also paid attention because while, yes, Kalonzo has the Wiper Party that have had the national footprint, Rigathi Gachagua has also been spending more time in Mount Kenya. And so when he was getting out with the one-time information, it will be critical to look at the reception that Rigathi is making. And of course, this is a very interesting development because for over time, the ruling party, Kenya Kwanza, and of course with their brother ODM, have been trying to lock the traditional bases that ODM can, or that the opposition cannot make their way. And so I believe the next stop after Coast, go to Western, go to Nyanza. I spent the next, I left Kakamega on Thursday morning. Then Thursday, Friday, I was in, Friday I was in Siaya, Saturday I was in Siaya, and not Friday I was in Siaya, Thursday I was in Kisumu. And for me, I normally listen to Wazeis talking. And I want to believe, mtu asikudanganya, enda Western, enda Western, enda. Rigathi Kalonzo, made some observations. Rigathi Kalonzo Matiang'i, Natembea, Karua, Eugene Wamalwa, all there. Now let's look at some few observations here. Rigathi's presence in those rallies seemed to have fired up the opposition. And if you look at the reception, the crowds that came out in Taita Taveta, this was Voi, And after Voi, they also made their way to Mazeras, that is on the junction unaingia Kilifi. Then after Mazeras, the same convoy, I think after Mazeras, they then moved and made their way to Mombasa. And Mombasa, they went to Changamwe. Of course, contrary to what the strategy that Kindiki and the team are using, where they are actually facilitated crowds to events, the roadside ones are normally impromptu, they're more natural. And so if you attract the numbers in the ones that you've not organized, you cannot see buses ferrying people there. To me, they're more of the best reception. You ndio sasa kusikiza what the people are saying. And there is something I've noticed. I spoke to some woman in Shinyado, where I was. Akaniambia that they are paid 200. And by the way, for Western politicians, hapa itabidi tukae nyuma ya tent kidogo. Some local politician that I should not name pays women 200 shillings waende wapulize vuvuzela. Then I asked her, why 200? Akaniambia, hapa Shinyalu wenye wanafanya kazi ya shambani wanaliponga shilingi 200. So hiyo kazi wanalipanga kulingana na ile. Okay? And so the point is, so I was interested. I asked her why. And she said, that is the only way I can make food. They can make my money. I can make something to give my children. And so it means, and by then she was strategically telling me that not that I love the politician, I'm part of it work. So this should be a message to politicians. These paid up crowds is not something to celebrate about. Look at Changamwe.
Mimi na ndugu yangu Kalonzo Musyoka na Eugene Wamalwa na George Natembea na Fred Matiang'i tumeanza safari ya kufukuza kasongo ya Moha. Mimi na ndugu yangu Kalonzo Musyoka na Eugene Wamalwa na George Natembea na Fred Matiang'i tumeanza safari ya kufukuza kasongo ya Moha.
Sasa tuambie Ruto akiwa Nairobi, yote yawezekana bila Ruto. Yote yawezekana. Yote yawezekana. Yote yawezekana. Yote yawezekana. Harambe. Na nyinyi mmeamua ni one time. Mmeamua ni one time. Mtaongea kwa sauti Ruto asikie. Nipatie Ruto one time. Harambe. Harambe. Ruto ende asiende. Ende asiende. Kasongo ende asiende. Ruto one time. Ruto one time.
And I'm telling you, there is something Rigathi brings in that opposition bench that really you cannot underestimate. And of course, if you look at that crowd, of course, the reception of that crowd, in fact, the host, the man that is the engine behind that opposition is Rigathi. They just need a candidate and a little bit of backup. So the next observation I had, and that is why I'm telling you that William Ruto, Rigathi will spoil the party for President Ruto, is this issue of tribalism.
Tena amepanga serikali, akipea mtu mwingine kazi, anaweka deputy mtu yake. Yule Inspector General of Police ni Flower Girl. Hapo nyuma yake ameweka mtu ya kabila yake anaitwa Eliud Lang'ati. Pale National Treasury anadanganya John Badi ya Minister. Anaweka PS anaitwa Chris Kiptoo. Pale Central Bank amedanganya mtu anaitwa Kamau Nduge ni governor wa Central Bank. Chini yake anaweka mama anaitwa Susan Koech. Pale Ministry of Agriculture anaweka Mutahi Kagwe, hapo nyuma yake anaweka PS anaitwa Engineer Rono. Pale Ministry of Water anaweka minister anaitwa Mureithi, nyuma yake anaweka Korir. Ni mukabila si mukabila? Ni mukabila si mukabila? William Ruto is the most deceptive tribalist since the independence of Kenya. Ni mukabila si mukabila? Alafu yeye anaita sisi wa kabila. Ni vile ukiwa mwizi unaanza kusema yule mwizi na wewe ndio nini? Ni mukabila si mukabila? Wewe William Ruto wa Kenya wamekujua. Na wa Kenya watakufukuza asubuhi mapema. Yeye unajua alikuja kwetu akatudanganya na Biblia. Alikuwa anasema ati mwana ya washo. Alikuwa hata anaiba nyimbo zetu. Na kula mahindi na viazi. Ndio tufikirie ni mmoja wewe? Sasa nimeona kwa Raila anakula omena. Hii mtu ni mtu deceptive. Akija Ukambani anasema leta modokoi. Akiandanganya Wakamba. Sasa mimi nauliza wewe William Ruto, hawa Kalonzo na watu yake na sisi we are cousins. Kweli ama uongo? Sisi ni makuzo. Wewe William Ruto, mambo ya familia unaingilia wapi? Wewe unataka kuingia katikati yangu na Kalonzo, sisi ni cousins. Wewe kwenda tafuta kazi yako Raila huko mkae na yeye. Harambee! Harambee! Kasongo hadi asiende. Hii Mombasa tunataka tushikane na Kalonzo. Pia sisi tutafute gavana wetu ambaye ako kwa mlengo wetu. Changamu amko.
What together have said here, there are two things I've said. And I think in this podcast, those who are senior members of this channel know, I've been raising this matter. By the way, utter in the blue economy, that mining, the PS is Kimutai, the one who was in health. And I told you, I did promise you that the moment, whenever there is another tribe in a docket, you'll always find the PS Kalenjin. That is, in almost all these ministries, you'll always find a spy. And please, I have a lot of respect for my Kalenjin brothers here. We are not saying as a tribal prejudice, but we are we're just echoing the observations of what is happening around. And this doesn't mean, and let's not say Kalenjin folks, friends. It's not tribe. It's not tribe. It is his Kalenjin friends. So, this is when this thing is raised, then I've always saying, if what he's saying is wrong, you know, in this podcast, some people misconstruct that we embrace Rigathi. But if you are keen, the tone, the voice, the position of this podcast is on what is happening. So I've always said, instead of attacking, you should answer, yes, what he said, is it a lie? Come on. Is it a lie? That Mutahi Kagwe is the CS for Agriculture and the PS is Rono. Is it a lie? Is it a coincidence? The Minister for Lands is Alice Wahome, but the PS is Korir. Is it a lie? Those are the conversations. And the other side, the people will say, we are uniting the country. Second issue is this issue of cousins narrative. And one thing you realize, when you hear politician bringing up a narrative and it's gathering momentum, it shows you how people are picking up lines from Rigathi. Remember, the one time is a pickup line that came from Rigathi Gachagua, and that was when he was in Machakos, Mlolongo. Now he said cousins, and I just want to interpret to you what the cousins mean. When Rigathi says, Mimi and my cousins, he's talking about Bantus. Kikuyu, Kamba, Mijikenda, Luya. Sometimes when I'm younger, you may not agree with Rigathi, but the real thinking about it is huge. And let me tell you, check social media. Check social media. Remember everyone is talking about him. Even, After we asked the deputy president that please stop just oscillating in Mount Kenya, he's tried now to go to Machakos, spending time in Machakos, put people under tents, and of course doing what Sudi was doing the other end. And Rigathi Gachagua is taking William Ruto's allies head on. On this one, he's asking a very important question to Atuole.
Wewe Kasongo, wacha hiyo maneno. Alikuwa hataki nifike hapa nikiwa naibu wake tusijuane. Lakini ya Mungu ni leo tumejua. Tuendelee kusema ukweli ama tuendelee kusema uongo? Huyu Kasongo ni muongo si muongo? Alisema ataweka pesa kwa mfuko, aliweka ama alitoa ile ilikuwa kidogo? Mambo ya masomo ililetwa na Mwai Kibaki, ameharibu hajaharibu? Mambo ya matibabu ameharibu hajaharibu? Mambo ya uchumi ameharibu hajaharibu? Hata pale NSSF, na munisikize vizuri, NSSF ni pahali nawekwa pesa ya wale wafanyikazi, itakuja kuwasaidia siku zao za uzeeni. Hiyo pesa Kasongo amepanga, ametoa hiyo pesa kinyume na sheria, ati kwenda kujenga barabara ya Mau Summit kutoka Rironi. Amepanga ati kwenda kufanya kazi pale Bomas of Kenya. Na Bomas of Kenya amepatia Muhindi, alikuwa amepatia Mturuki. Nilipopiga kelele akafukuza Mturuki akapatia Muhindi. Muhindi amepewa lease ya 99 years. Anachukua pesa ya NSSF anapeleka Bomas. Ingine anapeleka kujenga barabara. Pesa ya NSSF hapana ya kufanya infrastructure. Hiyo ni pesa ya kufanya investment. Ndio hao watu uzeeni wao wapate mapato yao. Na huyu mzee anaitwa Francis Atwoli amenyamaza. Wewe Francis Atwoli umenyamaza ama mumekula pamoja na Kasongo? Amenyamaza ama amekula pamoja na Kasongo? Wewe Atwoli unasemanga unatea wafanyakazi. Pesa ya NSSF Kasongo anachukua kwenda kujenga barabara ndio apate commission ya 10% kwa barabara. Ingine Bomas of Kenya ni yeye ako na investment partnership na Muhindi.
Now these are the hard convo that people will not want to take. Challenge the facts. Don't say tribal, don't say mjinga, and don't say, just challenge the fact. When he says that NSSF money nenda kujenga barabara, si ujibu hiyo. That is the point. It's true. I also understood, made this observation, Kalonzo Musyoka saying Mohamed Jicho Pevu is joining that camp. That would be a big input, because as I said, and I think it's not something that if you follow this channel, I've said several times in this podcast of this. Mohamed Jicho Pevu wants to be the governor, and I'm sure Ahmed Nasir is going to vie through ODM seeking re-election, and UDA would likely field a candidate through the Secretary General. So I think Mohamed Jicho Pevu standing in the space there, him joining that camp would actually bring the coast leg. And with the politician, the brand of politician, he has a constituency in Mombasa.
Kenya, chupa ya maji na simu peke yake. Hiyo ni silaha kweli? Kwa nini walikuwa wanaogopa? Tunasema hivi basi kwa heshima ya watoto wetu wa Kenya Gen Z. Tarehe 25 mwezi huu, siku ambayo alienda bungeni, itakuwa public holiday. Wangapi wanakubaliana na sisi? Kwa hiyo sisi tuko hapa, tunasalamu, watu wanaendelea, watu wanangojea waache Ruto na mapesa hiyo yote. Tunasalimia kijana anaitwa Jicho Pevu. Mnamjua Jicho Pevu? Wangapi wanamjua Jicho Pevu? Amesema ako njiani. Hata ujiunga vile hao wengine wametoka huko. Na ndiyo peke yake alichaguliwa na Uda hapa Kisauni, sio? Ama wapi Nyali. Yeye mwenyewe hata jiunga na timu na amesema tulete salamu zake. Ndipo anasema tuchukue salamu na tuchukue salamu. Kwa hivyo Bwamunyoro atamalizia, ngoja hiyo ndugu Eugene. I think after we are through, mama moja ongee, watu tuko nyara, katia microphone, mama wale. Mama ataongea. Mama kutoka Kipipiri ametoka mbali sana.
You cannot underestimate. He has a constituency in Mombasa. And if he chooses to vie for governor, then that means he will be lobbying for votes for the opposition candidate, who is the presidential candidate, who is the person that he might likely put in the poster. And of course, Mombasa is also, of course, ODM numbers in Mombasa reduced. They shared spoils with William Ruto. And if Kalonzo is also going to take his Kamba vote from Mombasa, and Matiang'i also picks up his vote from Mombasa, there's a significant number of cases, and the Luhya vote is also taken, then ODM would be more weaker in the coast. So that is one thing that I think there's been discussion that have been taken about it. I also saw the presence of Onyonka representing Matiang'i. Now, Rigathi must continue injecting. For better part of yesterday, Friday, I was a bit busy. But today, I saw this clip. You might have seen this before. I saw this clip and I'm wondering, why is Sudi threatening people with that log?
Nimeona ule mshenzi Rigiji anaongea sijui kule Murang'a. Anasema ati magari, pikipiki, sijui mitungi ya maziwa, sijui nini, ati William Ruto ametumana hapa. Nataka niambie wewe Rigiji, ujinga mimi usinilete, pelekea watu wengine. Mimi nimefanya kazi kwa miaka mingi. Wewe ulishinda ukaa kwa serikali, ulishinda kutafuta marafiki. Hiyo Murang'a unaongea hapo penye unaongea sijui, wewe umepea nini hao watu? Kazi yako kila siku ni kuamuka na kuhara kwa mdomo yako. Unahara kwa mdomo yako. Hakuna siku unapanga mambo ya maendeleo. Ulikuwa kwa uongozi kwa mwaka 2. Utuoneshe toilet tulijenga huko Mount Kenya. Utuongeze kazi ulifanya. Sasa naona sasa anaongea maneno mengi ati hivi yote William Ruto ametuma. Kwani William Ruto wako na makende, sisi hatuna makende? Waambie Rigiji waache ujinga na waache ushenzi. Sisi tutafanya kazi, tutafanyia wananchi wetu kazi, tutatembea hiyo Mount Kenya, hatuwezi tukatembea bure vile unatembea bure ukiongea matope. Na nataka nikuambia wewe Mr. Dorcas, wacha kwanza kutembea na bibi yako kila siku. Hakuna mwanaume anatembeanga na mwanamke akitembea akifanya siasa. Wacha ujinga na wache utoto. Na hata ikiwezekana tutakuimpeach mara nyingine huko Mount Kenya. Naona unazunguka unaongea matope mingi sana. Huyu Mbadi amekuja hapa ni waziri wa fedha. Ukiuliza Mbadi hata shilingi moja ya serikali kama iko hapa, yeye mwenyewe ametuletea 1.5 million kuongezea kutoka kwa mfuko yake. Wewe kazi yako ni kuongea tu asubuhi William Ruto. Ukilala William Ruto. William Ruto ni bibi yako. Si uende utafuta William Ruto wewe akue Dorcas wa pili mshenzi.
And yes, we are in politics. Kenya Kwanza MPs, in every event, their only agenda is Rigathi Gachagua. What is wrong if Rigathi Gachagua is talking about President Ruto? And again, what is so personal about this issue? Because Rigathi said it's true. I see things called. I saw these things that Sudi was parading. Piki, 100 chips machines and all that and all that. I saw that video. Economic empowerment. And I just and all those posho meals. So in that Kapseret constituency, kwani kuna market sana. You know what is being paraded to me as an economic empowerment is not. It is not strategic. If all those people wamefungua chips, nani atanunua chips? If all those people wamefungua posho meal, see they're already existing as we've added, how is that market so vibrant for all that? And we insist. It is a big shame for people who are supposed to work on policy. It is a big shame for people who are supposed to work on the system to work. Taking some few tokens to the people, and you call that empowerment. And of course, let me ask it that way. Let me look at it this way. Is it sustainable? Let's say that is the definition of empowerment. The Sudi way, sewing machine, all that. If all of us in this country, we are given that, are you really sure that that is what is going to fix this country? Do we have all that? If the system doesn't work, if the people doesn't have the money. So the sort of economic empowerment, someone is giving money, the other person is giving machines. And this strategy has been used in the past. Sudi wanted to pass a message. Sudi simply wanted to pass a message. And in fact, if you ask me, remember in his economic empowerment, Kindiki was not there. He wanted to pass a message about Kindiki was the target. And the state is clearly pushing Kindiki, making Kindiki look like a laughing stock. The person who should get worried is Kindiki. It is the state giving him money, walking around with the MPs dishing money. Then all of a sudden, a masterpiece is pulled from Kapseret. Even a minister was invited, Badi. And sielewi mbona matusi. Sielewi. And again, I don't know what is wrong if Rigathi chooses to move around with the wife. He does that because of security. Interpretation of cost rallies. Rigathi is making huge inroads outside Mount Kenya. And with that, the one-time euphoria is likely to sweep the country. And again, I see a possibility that by the time you get to 2027, ODM and William Ruto will be one thing. And if you destroy Ruto, ODM will also suffer accumulative damage. In fact, corrosive damage. If with William Ruto corrosion, ODM is likely going to take that direction. And in fact, I hear this narrative of, we are in government. When it comes to 2027, you will decide. When you choose to decide, it will be too late. The country is making a decision now. And ODM should not lie with this narrative. Let us eat, then uko tutamua mbele. By the time you will decide, the country shall have decided. And you will be having a lot of confrontation with the people. The people are in panic. And that's why the Sudis and Ongena are saying, and I don't know for what reason. When Rigathi will back another candidate, it will be a game changer in the next election. He just needs to back another candidate. If he says Matiang'i Tosha, I'm telling you that is going to be the end of the story. And that is why I believe he should not fall for the trap in the courts. The state can fix the courts to make sure that he vie. But I think the game changer is clearly Rigathi Gachagua supporting another candidate. Thank you.